Baylor football coach Dave Aranda with me, David Smoak on 365 Sports. In the post-game Saturday, tough loss, obviously, the way it went down. You mentioned that you kind of had a locker room that was broken. Mm-hmm. How do you fix that? Mm-hmm. How do you, I mean, it's everything's accumulating. So, what have you seen since you felt that the locker room? And I get the disappointment.
Appreciate that. Yeah. There are always just silent forces that are working, whether it's, the expectations not met, life after Baylor football, whether it's NFL prospects, whether it's, I wanted to, or just goals that are not realized, or it could be, I wanted to accomplish this so that I could get in position for this type of money, or any of those things are all real things, and I think are all respected. And so I don't think it's necessarily that those things overtake an individual or overtake a team collectively. I think it's that coaches don't intercede. Don't ask the questions. Don't go there with the players and see what silent forces are at work there. And so I just think that's just really important. The relationships and doubling down on that, and the guys that are struggling, sitting down with them, taking time, and then working to mend the breach. And then from there, we've had a couple lift groups so far today, and there's been a ton of energy. I was down there with Vic just prior to our press conference, and he says, David, it's been great, it's been good. I think today we're going to lighten some of the conditioning work, and we're going to try to have some fun out there, get coaches involved with some of it. And so I think all of that's important when you just feel the burden of college football. It should be fun. And so to try to integrate some of that with still accomplishing which we need to accomplish, and obviously we have a huge test coming up, and so we got to prepare for that. But I think early in this week, if we can do everything we can to make sure that we're all connected, is going to be the most important thing.
You're obviously a very caring man. Uh-huh. Everyone thinks you're a great person. And then also the person over player. Where is the balance of that in making sure these are good young men, mm-hmm. great young men in the future, mm-hmm. and playing football and winning at big-time football?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really think that's it. That is it. I think that, our ability to do that, to do both, really is going to separate us. And I think it's really going to make us different. And I think that's the challenge, and I feel like we've been able to touch that space and step into that space, but we're certainly not there now, And so I think the difference for me, the improvements that I can make, is to not focus or not have so much focus on just the stuff off the field, and make the guys that are really, really good football players feel like this is not the place for them. And I feel like I can do a better job of that. I feel like I've done that throughout my time here, especially this year. But I think that's also going to take the recruiting where that fits that type of situation. I think all of those things are important because we want to win, And I think that the mentor coach that was really kind of a taking a player from one phase of life to another phase of life. I just think the powers that be with college football is eliminating that person in a lot of ways. And I think it's harder for that guy to survive. There's other things at work that are more that person's subservient to whether it's NIL or it's winning or it's money coming in. And so I think to find a way to where all of that can be balanced and you don't lose your soul in it, where you can give it your heart and win, that's that's what this is all about.
Made me think of a question when the time change occurred over the weekend. The hourglass and sand coming down, and that, at the time change. Do you feel any pressure in the clock in making something that there's a sign that this is turning the corner?
I do. Yeah, I do. I think this game's a big, I mean, they're all big games, but I think for this year, we have to finish strong. I think we've shown fight. I don't think fight's enough. I think we need wins, and then I think we have to show that off the field that we're battling too. I think when you lose, the talent that you have is liable to be poached, and so we have to fight for the guys that we have. I think the recruits that we have that are committed to us, we have to fight for them, because that'll be the same. And then I think for any transfer portal guys that we have with the record, and I'm sure just the storm around my name, we have to fight for that too. And so there's just a fair amount of fighting going on. And I think for us to fight and fight well, there has to be a calm at the center of that storm with each individual that's out in that arena. And that's just, knowing that, knowing who we are, what we represent with Baylor, what type of integrity we need to go out in this space for. Because I think all of it is, I think some of college football, I love other parts of college football, I don't want to be a part of. And so for us to fight the fight but not be of it is really what's ahead of us. And I invite that, and I know that that's where we're at, and our staff does too.
How important is it for you to fix this, but also make sure you have the opportunity to fix this?
No, it's important. I think, I love this team. I love our guys. I really do. And I think there can be, I think it was your first question or your second question, there can be some additions to the team that will make it a more complete team. And I think we all have to be more open to that. And we're certainly on a path to do that. But I would want it to be to where, we're winning at a high level. I'm taking school seriously. I can see my everyday life growing my faith, not just on Sundays, but on Saturdays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays. I can see my faith. I can see the spring inside of me. And so I just think I think that to have all of that and to have a winner in major college football is what my dream would be. And so to work to do that is way strong in me.
You mentioned the storm around your name. Mm-hmm. In 2021, best season in the history of Baylor football. You signed an extension. You earned that. Everybody was worried probably that you might go somewhere else with all the jobs that were opened up. Do people forget that your loyalty to Baylor, is that even in play here?
No, I don't think so. I think it's all of this is a business, and I think it's I think there was a point, I think it was the Big 12 media days where we were talking, mm-hmm. and we talked about to care and not to care, and it's one of my favorite poems. It's T.S. Eliot, and even among these rocks, to rest in His will, and so I just think to care and not to care is that I understand that it's a business. I understand that you're only as good as your last win, or you're only as bad as your last loss, and to fully accept that, but then to not kind of get drowned out with all of the negative that comes with that, but just to accept it for it. This is what it is, and to really, for me, is to work on myself through that, so that I can be better, not only on the field but off too. is kind of the journey that I'm on, and I try to take the team and staff with me for sure. But I don't know, to not get caught up in it, but it is a business, and it's a game of winning, and we haven't done enough of it.
Got two more questions, if you don't mind. That day you spoke with us was a week that was brutal. You lost your father. I know you've leaned on other former coaches along the way, and this has been a tough year. Who are you leaning on, Dave, right now?
I probably could use more to lean on. Yeah. I pray a lot. I have a lot of there's quiet times in the morning for me where I can get the stuff that needs to come out, and then I can rest where I need to rest and kind of have a perspective for the day. Because it's very, today's a good example. I get here in the morning and I'm walking and there's people coming in. They're all looking to see, okay,
what kind of mood's he in?
And so you feel that, and I think the test for me with that is that I don't want to act, I don't want to try. I don't want to know that's happening and try to be something that I'm not. I want it to be real, And so that just takes work. And so I think the quiet time can help you do that, because I think it centers you for all that's coming in your day.
Last thing, you and I have spoken about NIL, and you can't say much about it, but Baylor's trying to figure that out, or the others, GXG, whoever else. Have you been given everything you need to succeed here?
That's a good question. I know that our anticipation is, and I think is one of the things that probably comes out of a season like this, is that we're probably going to be more aggressive in that area. And I think some of that just goes to just you probably don't know until you know. And I'm speaking of myself more than anybody. Speaking of myself, because I have not been one, banging on the door saying, hey, need this, need that. And so this is something that I think, it's the state of college football. I think you can look around the country. I think you can look at, there's other teams that were maybe somewhat similar to us, and I don't think their record's exactly like us, but I think there's some similarities there, and I just think it's a part of it. And I think, for me, the acknowledgement of we have to be aggressive in that area, and I think our players deserve it, and so we're looking forward to venturing out into that space, and that's going to start pretty soon.
Dave Aranda, Baylor football coach on 365 Sports.
When we come back,